Hello, everyone. So today I want to talk about empowerment. From my own little understanding of empowerment, it's like an assistance that is given to you from behind or given to you by somebody in order to help you achieve your goal or in order to help you kickstart something that probably might help you to achieve your goal. And the first thing that comes to mind is the empowerment that comes from the Nigerian government or the Nigerian leaders. Sometimes, when you see the kinds of things that people are being empowered with, I mean, you're just going to laugh. You're just going to laugh because some of them, they are just laughable. Imagine empowering somebody with a plate. Imagine empowering people with a machine or sewing machine without actually getting a place that that person is going to use that sewing machine. A shop, an office, anywhere like that. You just carry machine, you just give it to somebody and you say you are empowering them. Or empowering people with 50,000 naira, 100,000 naira. Nigeria of today, if you take 100,000 to the market, you will hardly come back with 10,000 naira as a change. That is even if you are being economical. Okay? So, but our leaders, I can't remember the last time I had people being empowered in Western world. You don't empower people by giving them chicken change because that chicken change is not going to do them anything. So at the end of the day, it's going to bring them back to square one. And to you, the person that has done the empowerment, like we just recently heard from the president's wife, I don't see that as empowerment. I don't see that as encouraging people in order to achieve their goal. Because whatever you are going to give to anybody as empowerment, that thing must be something that you yourself will have to look at and think, if I were in this person's position and I'm giving 100,000 as empowerment, where do I start from? What will 100,000 do for me? But for you to then go ahead to empower people with 50,000 and 100,000, all you are doing is what has always been happening in Nigeria, weaponizing poverty. Because you just want that to go on record. How did we end up with Buhari's empowerment of giving old people over 10,000 and stuff like that? No records for it. That's one side. Now, what I see as empowerment are the things that are happening in Western world, in Europe, Asia, America, wherever. You know, I always mention these places. I'm not saying that there are no poor people in America or in UK. But for you to see a poor person, that person might be someone who either doesn't want to work, he's lazy, but there's always work for you to do. There are companies, there are factories, except if you are looking for something that you are skilled in. But if you don't mind anything, believe you me, you cannot stay a week without having a job in Western world. I've seen it happen. Okay? So that is what I see that is going on. But the way I want to look at this empowerment today, when you, as a country, as a nation, as leaders, the most important thing that should be uppermost in your mind, the first thing is the necessities of life. What are the necessities of life? Food, water, light. When you give people food, water, light, you have already solved 50% of their problem. To then talk about empowering people, what you then do going forward is to look at situations like you have in the Western world, where from the day you have a child, you can close your eyes. This one is not about whether things will happen or God will make. No, no, no. You can close your eyes and literally see the future of your child. The only time that you cannot see his future is when he finishes his secondary school and he picks options of universities. That one you can't tell whether he's going to Ahmadu Bello University or he's going to Enugu University or he's going, but he will pick about three good universities, whichever one comes. But one thing you are certain about is that he's going to university. So from the time you have a child, the moment that child is 2, 3 years old, they are already putting him online. His education from that time till he finishes his university and everything is in the hands of the government, not in the hands of the parents. That's empowerment. Why does the government of the Western world take that responsibility? Because they don't want Boko Harams. They don't want useless people on the streets. They don't want people to start becoming bandits, kidnappers all over the place. Because when that happens, all that is going to happen is just to make sure that the government are in trouble. The government have got more than enough on their hand than to add bandits, kidnappers, robbers, and Boko Harams and all these things added to what they have on hand. So instead of them to allow that to happen, they will make sure that they take care of your children's school from their young age right up to their university level. And the moment they get to their university level, they are being sponsored, even though eventually they are going to return this money, which is not a problem because the job will be there for them to get and gradually, little by little, pay back that money. That is what I see as empowerment. Imagine if Nigerian government today make sure that from primary school, like they put or they have in our constitution, from primary school all the way to university, not just the schools, but when that child finish and goes to his NYSC and comes back, there are factories, companies, so many places that he's going to make a choice of where he can work. And that kid can then, in return, bless or help his parents. That is what I see as empowerment. So instead of you giving people 50,000, 100,000, whatever, all the money that you people are borrowing, money from petrol subsidy, money from here and there, in their millions and trillions now, put them in education, build factories, secure the whole nation, let people go back to farm, let food be cheap for the people. And then when our children finish their schools and everything, let them have a place to go and work, pay the nation tax, and help their parents. That's what I call empowerment. It is not the responsibility of the government to say they want to empower parents. No. If you had empowered those parents and you have done the right thing by making sure schools are free, today we will not be where we are today. There was a time, Obafemi Awolowo, I think he's here. There was a time he made sure that in Southwest, there's free education. Obafemi did everything possible to make sure that we had free education. From where? From ordinary cocoa farming cocoa, ordinary cocoa. The lands are still there, my brothers and sisters. It's not that those lands have entered inside ground. No, they are still there. But because we found petrol, we now see that we don't need to do anything anymore. I keep telling you, my brothers and sisters, if our leaders had something upstairs, believe you me, they will be stealing 100 times what they are stealing now. And every single soul, like I said before, in Nigeria will be a millionaire. Because what is happening with our leaders, I'll give you a little picture for you to understand how terrible things are. So I'm sure you would know biscuit. Everybody knows biscuit because all kids, all children eat biscuits, including adults. Now, if you take one biscuit and you look for a white paper, put it on the floor or on the table. I want you to snap that biscuit. When you snap that biscuit into two, you will see some tiny crumbs that are falling into that white paper. Those tiny crumbs are what our leaders have been packing, Nigerian leaders. That's what they have been packing all these years back since we discovered petrol. But if they had worked a little bit harder, those crumbs, the biscuits on the right and the left, the one they snapped, they would have been eating those ones. And we, the Nigerian people, believe you me, with the crumbs in their billions that they are stealing today, would have been a millionaire. Each person in Nigeria would have been a millionaire. But our leaders did not want to work or cannot work harder for them to make that money. Our leaders are all over the crumbs while they allow the potential of the country to be going down the drain. They don't have to work hard to make this money. They can either borrow from abroad or they can just get it from the citizens, from the petrol. As the leaders are hitting the citizens from the top, when you make any transaction with your bank, look at it, the next minute you'll be seeing 50 naira, 100 naira, 15 naira, 13 naira leaving your account. So as the government from the top are hitting Nigerians from the top, you go to our roads, all our police now, all they do is stand on the road. They don't want to know whether you have document or you don't have documents. 100 naira to 200, 100 naira to 200. And believe you me, if we harness the potentials that we have, all these police, all these soldiers, all these road safety that are collecting to 200, each of them can be collecting 500,000 at the end of the month. If we harnessed the potential that Nigeria has. But all our leaders are concentrating on that crumbs rather than concentrating on the bigger picture to turn those two large biscuits into money. If they, I'm not saying it is acceptable, but if they are even eating those two big biscuits, the crumbs, they leave it for Nigerians, every one of us will be millionaire today. So I'm going to leave you with that one. But I want you to understand that these things are not going to change. Nothing will change if you and I did not change. We cannot continually be sitting by the sideline and expecting Nigeria to change. It cannot happen. And that is why I urge you to get your PVC. Get your PVC. Let us come out, vote in our millions. Forget about hoodlums. There will only be hoodlums when you have on party A, you have 200 people. On party B, you have 210 people. Obviously, you cannot tell which one is more than the other except you count. But when we have party A 200 people and party B 5 million people, you don't need any IREF. I keep saying it on my videos. You don't need IREF. So some of you that are hiding behind, if I vote, my vote will not count. If I vote, they will change the IREF, they will take light in the middle of the night. All those things are excuses. Let us be in our millions. And as we vote in our millions, let us stand by our votes. And after it has been counted, if anything's happened, this black and white that we are seeing, that's when our protest starts and then catapult into a revolution. And then we can get back what is ours. I'll see you on the next video.